Albuquerque is a turkey, and he's feathered and he's fine, and he wobbles and he gobbles, and he's absolutely mine. Gobble, 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 get. And he wobbles and he gobbles, and he's absolutely mine. He's the best pet that you can get, better than a dog or cat. He's my Albuquerque turkey, and I'm awfully proud of that. Gobble, 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 get. He's my Albuquerque turkey, and I'm awfully proud of that. He once told me very frankly he'd prefer to be my pet, not the main course at my dinner, and I told him not to fret. Gobble, 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 get. Not the main course at my dinner, and I told him not to fret. Now my Albuquerque turkey is so happy in his bed, 'cause for our Thanksgiving dinner we had mac and cheese instead.
Don't you love that? I just kind of had to share. I'm looking at the hair, and you're gonna have to just deal with it because it is 9 o'clock at night, and I've been up since 5:30. So this, my darlings, is as good as it's gonna get. I am Joan Turner, and I am Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, and I have been doing tutorials during the COVID season, and you can maybe guess what today's tutorial is going to be about. Now, today's tutorial is going to be a rock painting tutorial, and it is going to be your very own Albuquerque turkey. Albuquerque is a turkey, and he's fine. Okay, so we want a rock. Okay, so these are the things that you're going to need for Albuquerque turkey, right? So I would say maybe take a snapshot of this, unless you have one of the Drake Council on Aging kits. In that case, it would already be in your kit, all right? But not everyone has a kit, and these tutorials are open to everyone. So knock yourself out and have a blast. What you will need is this, okay? Or something similar to go by. You will need a rock, because this is a rock painting tutorial. And you will need paint, and we are using acrylic paints. I am using white acrylic paint, and it's upside down because the jar is running low. So if I keep it upside down, all the paint goes to the bottom. It's easy to use, right? Albuquerque turkey has brown. Oh, I didn't take any brown out. Okay, so he has reds, green, orange, yellow. Okay, and I'm gonna use some black to kind of outline him and kind of make him like really happy. The background for this rock is an off-white color, an ecru. This is called unbleached titanium. That's actually just an off-white, and you can use any color you want. I thought of maybe putting yellow back there, or an orange, but this is a fall picture. It's a picture of Albuquerque turkey, and he has all his different colors. So I forgot the brown. I'm going to go get some brown, and as you can see, there's two different color browns on Albuquerque turkey. Okay, so I'm going to. You can use a really dark brown and mix some light with it, or you can use a light and dark brown. And to be honest with you, the way that I decide which is which is whatever I have in my paint bucket. Okay, and it so happens that I have this is black. All right, so this is a burnt sienna, which is a brown, and it's called burnt sienna because we put the maker puts a little bit of orange in there, kind of makes it warmer. An orangey yellow color makes it a little bit warmer in temperature, so we call it burnt. All right, so I'm going to look for another brown. This looks like not black. Albuquerque is a turkey, and it's better than fine. Can I see any brown here? I could be in trouble with. Okay, all right. So I found another red. I was looking for the brown, and the reason I couldn't find the brown is because it's right here in front of me. All right, and I have a burnt umber. Okay, burnt umber. Umber, a brown umber is usually a darker type of brown. A burnt sienna or burnt umber is a little bit, like I say, warmer in temperature when you look at it. So Albuquerque turkey has both. So we're gonna use both. Okay. You're also gonna need lots and lots of paper towels. All right. A drink. All right. And this is peach tea, regardless of what you may have heard to the opposite. But you can put anything in your cup that you want. Okay. The other thing that you need is brushes. So brushes, I actually gonna use a big flat brush to actually paint the stone. And then I'm going to use a pointed brush to kind of paint on these his feathers and whatnot. Okay, so if you have paint kits, you can use any brush that has a little bit of a point to it. A bigger brush for painting the stone, and actually whatever else you're comfortable with. It's kind of not a wrong way to do this, but if you have the right tools, it makes it a little bit easier. So a big flat tool to actually cover the stone, a smaller, maybe pointed brush to do details with. And actually, I have a little liner brush, which you may or may not have in your kit. But if you don't, and you have a really old brush that you're not using anymore, cut the hairs off of it till there's only like a couple left, and then you will end up with your very own custom-made liner brush. And I'm going to use that liner brush to actually outline Albuquerque turkey, and so that way he's going to really pop out at us. Okay, so we have water, we have paints, we need a palette, right? You can have an artist palette, you can have an artist disposable palette, which the papers just kind of tear off and you throw them away when you're done with them. Or you can just use a paper plate, you can use a plastic coated plate. Again, there's really not a wrong way to do this. One more thing before we get started. If you have just a basic paint set, like basic primary colors, red, blue, and yellow are the primary colors. And you can make any color from those that you want. So if you have primary colors and you want to make an orange and you don't have an orange that you like, or you don't have it, what makes orange is yellow and red. Mix yellow and red together and you end up with orange, okay? So, you know, we get a little lazy, you know, we gotta use it right out of the containers. But I have to say, you know, mixing your own and getting the exact shade that you want is kind of cool, you know? So I often use them right out of, you know, not right out of, I actually mix my own, okay? The other thing I wanna say, when you're using water bowls, use water bowls. Don't use the same container that you're using for your drink. Because years and years and years ago, oh, I just painted myself. Years and years and years ago, I used to put water just in plastic cups. So we still kind of use them for wine and paints and fun and paints. But, you know, you get so involved in what you're doing. One time I drank my paint water. So putting them in containers that are different is actually a good idea. Okay, just so you don't have to think about, you know, what is it that I'm putting in my mouth, okay? So I think we're ready here. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to redirect the camera to the stone so that you can see what I am doing. Okay, so let's see if I can do what we need to do here. Okay, so let's go here. Oh, maybe we need to move it further away. have been doing this long enough. I should know by now. This is actually, let me see, my 11th or 12th tutorial. And I can remember the very first one I did, the camera was in the wrong place. I mean, it's not that I'm a professional now or that I do this awesomely good job, and I do a lot better than I used to. Okay, so I think you can see me, and now I actually probably can sit down. Yes, that works, that works. You see okay? All right, so the first thing we want to do is color our stone. Okay, so you want the flat, smoother stones are the easier ones to paint on. But again, if you have a Drake Council on Aging kit, I actually delivered those stones myself, and the best way to, they're very rarely perfect, and you wouldn't want them perfect anyway, but the best way to know which one is up is to just see which way it sits the best. So in this case, it's this, right? So again, I'm using an off-white or an ecru color. If you don't have that, you can take your white and mix a little bit of brown in it, and that will give you kind of an eggshell color. Or you can do a totally different color. Like I said, you could do yellow. I had toyed with the idea of doing a yellow. All right, so I'm going to put a nice even coat on here. And once it dries, I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. Okay. And so we're going to let that dry. So if your stone is not already pre-painted, don't worry. Just paint it and then stop the recording. And this acrylic paint dries relatively fast. If you have a fan and you put it under the fan, I'm going to say 5 minutes, depending on how thick you put the paint on. But typically it only takes about 5 minutes to dry. So I'm going to put this one aside because I actually already have one painted. Okay, and this one's dry. So what I did is after I painted it, I let it dry. I actually put a second coat on it. If the paint is thick, then you absolutely probably don't really need to do that, right? But this is an evenly coated. Some people, when they do rock painting, they just do one side. You can do that if you want to. I think it gives it a more finished look if we do both sides. All right, so I am going to let that dry. I'm going to put my brush. Acrylic paints, when they dry, if they dry on your brush, they'll ruin your brush. You can just like kind of throw it on out. Okay, so when you're not using them, put them in the water so that the paint doesn't dry on your brush. And I actually have several water containers out here, kind of a first bath and a second bath. I actually have 3 because some people seem naturally neat, and the rest of us seem naturally not neat. Okay, so I do have a pencil here, which I should have told you, get a pencil. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this rock, and I probably should not have painted over it. Okay, so again, figure out which side is a good side to call the top. And again, I do that by simply seating the rock on the table. And if it's this way and it doesn't wobble, that's right side up. If I put it this way and it wobbles, to me, then I want to put it where it's going to sit right. Okay, so this is the art table, by the way. So if you're using a good table, cover it. And also your clothes, wear art clothes. You should have clothes that you wear just when you do art, because especially if you're into what you're doing, you're definitely going to get paint on you or here. You can buy those plastic table coverings at the dollar store. They're extremely inexpensive, and it's a wonderful way to save your table, save your floor. Okay, so now we have Albuquerque turkey here. Okay, and I am going to draw on my rock, and I just kind of want to see, like I said, this is the way it seats best. And now, let me see if I can get a little bit closer here. Okay, and maybe turn this way a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So here's Albuquerque turkey over here. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw a teardrop shape for the body. Okay, now I'm not sure how good you can see this. Okay, so what I'll do is after I draw it on here, I'll actually I'll go over it with some paint so you can really see it. Okay, so I'm doing kind of a teardrop shape for his body, Albuquerque turkey, and just some kind of triangles for the feet or heart shapes for the tootsies. Okay, right, and he has a collar here. Okay, so this is a very easy draw. So, and actually, they certainly do not need to be perfect. They're actually cuter when they are not. Okay, so his head, okay, it's just a circle. And then he has kind of this square beak going on here and big eyes over here. And what you see are his big kind of cheeks coming out this way. Okay, and a hat, as a pilgrim hat on. Okay, so here is Albuquerque turkey's hat. So this is him. Take your time, kind of draw him on there. And I'm actually going to put his feathers on as well. And these are just big kind of teardrop shapes as well. Okay. So he has 1, 2, and then 3 on each side. So I'm actually going to put them in, Albuquerque turkey. Okay, so another 3 on this side, like this. Right. And then there's some little leaves and things going on around him, which, we can put up here if we want to. And again, if you do not want to put them on there, you do not have to put them on there. Okay, I'm going to actually draw some leaves right over his feathers. Okay, so that's what he looks like drawn on here. Can you see? Oh, you can see. All right, so take it slow. If you need to stop the recording, definitely go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to put us back this way, and so that you can see it a little bit better, and also to give you some time to actually draw him in. I'm going to go ahead and do like a light outline so that you can kind of see where we went with this drawing. Okay, so here's Albuquerque turkey. Here's my fine liner brush, and let's see here. I think what we'll do is take this brown, and I mean, eventually I am going to outline him in black, but just for the sake of guidelines, I'm actually going to just do him in kind of a light brown. And look how little I put on there. And then I'm going to put one of my water dishes up here. And I'm just going to put my brush in that water dish a little bit and just wet this down. So what I'm doing is making a very light type of painting. And this is the only time that I would water down my paints. I don't typically water them down, but this I don't actually want it to show in the finished drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, let me try and sit this away. Okay, so I'm going to take this brush and do this. My Albuquerque turkey. Okay, and I'm going to put in his toes like this, and I will show you in a minute what's going on here. Okay, so there's one little foot. Right, and I'm going to put in his other little foot. It's almost a heart shape, could actually do a heart shape here and then just put the extra toe in the middle. That would work. That actually works well. Okay. Now let's move this over just a little. Don't be afraid to make corrections. And yes, we all make them. Okay. So now I have his body. I have his feet. Right, I'm going to put in his collar, okay, which is like this. Can you see me? Yes, you can. Right. And like this. This. This is such a fun piece. You are going to totally love it. Okay. So now his face. Okay, face. Again, we have kind of those big cheeks out there. A little bit more paint. And I'm keeping the paint really flowy here. Okay, and I apologize, I know you can't see that great yet. Okay, so those are my first marks for his little face. Okay, now I'm going to put in that very large beak, which takes up most of his face, actually. It's pretty much a triangle shape. Okay, and here's the picture. All right. So now I want to put in the gobbler. And I know that there's a word for it. I just can't remember what it is. So don't pick on me because I don't know what it is. Everyone will send lots of little messages and stuff and say, oh, this is what it is, so and so forth. And I'm like, thank you. Okay, so this is his hat. Okay. And we're going to put this, that little green. And of course, that little pilgrim hat, he has to have a buckle in his pilgrim hat. Okay, so this is what he looks like. Right. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect at all. Okay, so don't worry if yours looks different somehow. Okay, let's do this. Here, here. Okay. And you can make corrections as you go along, so worry not. Okay, so these are just basic shapes, actually. Okay, so the eyes are just circles, like this. And I'm going to move this one a little bit further away. Okay, so here he is. Here he is. Okay, and I'm even going to make some guidelines for his different color browns here. And I'll show you what I'm doing. It has 1, 2, 3. So here's 1. Okay. It's just a scalloped edge. And then the second one just follows suit. And I'm not spending a great deal of time doing this because as we go along, we'll end up changing it and making corrections to it. And whenever I do anything like this, I always find that in the end, you have to, it's always a correction or something that you have to kind of make. So don't be hard on yourself if you say, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to correct this, I'm going to have to correct that. My Albuquerque turkey. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and do do some of his feathers. His feathers here. And again, I'm doing them quite lightly. So I don't have any really big dark lines. And I actually wouldn't even put these on, except I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. Okay, and like I said, as you can see, I'm not putting like loads and loads of time into it because I'm gonna paint right over this. Albuquerque turkey. Did you like that Albuquerque turkey song? Albuquerque, there's a turkey. And once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head. You'll be singing it. You'll be singing it all night long, all day long. Okay, so he does have his gobbler thing going on over here. So I'm actually going to put that into a little gobbly thing. And he actually has a little tie thing going on down there too. But I think for now, that'll do the trick. Okay, so like I say, if you need to kind of stop the recording, and I know I keep repeating myself, but I don't want anyone to kind of get stressed out doing this. This is supposed to be fun, and it actually is a great deal of fun. So, just enjoy yourself and just let it evolve, let it come out the way it's going to come out. Okay, so now I have the Albuquerque turkey, and I'm like happy at him. So I'm actually going to clean, just swishing actually in water, my detail brush because I'm sure I will need it again later. So I'm just cleaning it off. And like I said, the paint on there, I had kind of diluted it with water anyway. So it's really easy to clean. So I'm going to move this water bowl, okay? And I'm going to start putting in my Albuquerque turkey, and I'm going to do those light kind of strips first so that I can see where to go. So this is where I'm going to use that kind of pointed brush. All right, so, and it doesn't matter kind of the size. I mean, if you have a really little one like this, it's going to take you forever, but anything like this, but you do need a point, okay? So I'm going to take my burnt umber, which is my lighter brown. So if you don't have brown, what makes brown is red and green. If you mix red and green, you will end up with brown. Okay, and how much red and green you put in there determines the shade of brown. So you look at it, and if you like it, that's what you go with. And then if you add a little bit of white to it, you're going to end up with a light brown. Okay, so I am going to take this light brown, or in this case, burnt sienna. Right? I'm going to put just a little on my palette because this is a little rock. You're not going to need like mega amounts of paint. One thing about rock painting is that you don't use like a massive amount of materials. It's a very reasonably inexpensive way to create beautiful art, fun art, beautiful art. Yeah, it's your choice. So now I'm going to take my kind of pointed brush, and what I want to do these lines in here. Okay, so again, I am not going to dilute the paint this time because this, I want the paint to show up and stay in here. Okay, so underneath here, I'm going to paint this, like this. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. I don't know if I can get the camera any closer. I'm actually using my laptop to do this. Okay, so the reason I picked a relatively pointed brush is because I want to go around this little collar here. So I want a little bit of control. See that? See how easy that was? That is so cool. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other two, and I wish I could get closer here. Let's see if I actually can. I'd like you to be able to see even better. So much paint on my table. The camera doesn't want to slide. Okay, let's see if that's even better. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other strip, which is under here like this. Okay. And again, because there's a little bit of a point on here, I have a little bit more control. Now, your hand has a very small comfort zone, and for those of you who are very astute, which I'm assuming is all of you because you're here watching this, I turned the rock upside down because your hand has a very small comfort zone, and we want to keep our hands in that comfort zone so that we can paint. And you certainly can paint without being in your comfort zone, but then things actually kind of turn out different than you're hoping they would. Okay, so let's see here if I can curve this a little bit more. Yeah, because here's a pointy. Okay, so now I have two strips. Okay, and this white part that you see right here is his collar kind of hanging over the stripe. Okay, see it? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the third one. Okay, and the third one is really by his feet. So I'm going to be very careful not to do his feet. And if you do, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Be happy because you can get a Q-tip, you can wipe it off, or worst comes to worst, you let it dry and paint over it. So there isn't anything really hard here. Okay, so now I have this. Ta-da! Okay, so Mr. Albuquerque turkey is coming to life. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is put in the dark brown. Right, so without even cleaning my brush, I'm just gonna wipe it on there and take the extra paint off. And because I have some dark brown already on here, I'm gonna turn my picture around and I'm gonna do the rest of it. Okay, so the part of his little body that was not covered by the burnt sienna, we're going to do the dark brown. And remember, if you do not have brown in your kits or just don't have brown, green and red makes brown. Kitty, can you see dark brown? So, dark brown. Wondering if I can go darker. This is a burnt umber. Let's try that. The reason I'm saying let's go a little bit darker is because I would like a little bit more contrast than what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm going to take out a little bit of a darker brown. Now again, if you are mixing your own, you can put a little black into it. You can add more green to it. Okay, so I'm going to mix this. This brown is a lot thicker, so I'm going to mix it in with the thinner. Okay, so now I'm going to put the dark. Oh, there we go. Mucho better. All right. So I'm doing the second row. Okay, and again, using one that has a little bit of a point on it makes it a little bit easier for us. All right, so let me show you what it looks like. So now I have my light and dark here. I'm going to do the last dark part here. And I'm just following the guidelines that I made for myself. And again, don't worry about being perfect. You do not have to be perfect. You are perfect just as you are, just the way you are. I have to say, I like music and I like to sing. So in having, doing these tutorials, usually I have music playing when I'm doing my art, but during the tutorials, I do not because the background sometimes doesn't come through as music, more comes through as a distraction. So I don't put them on, I don't put it on, but I'm definitely going to sing at you. Okay, so here's Albuquerque turkey. I'm putting my brush in the water and I'm showing you what I have here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and outline that in the black, all right, because we really want to see it. Okay, so I'm going to take my black, and you should have black in your kit. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of black here. And again, I am so not putting a lot of paint on this palette because you won't use a lot. And the paint, like I said, dries very quickly. So it would dry out very quickly as well. So use just a little. And I'm going to put this black on here. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, a little bit of water in there. I have a lot of water in there. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so outlining our strips in black. Okay, it looks like this and gives us a little bit more definition. So I'm actually going to do the last one here too. Okay. Here's the porky. Okay, so this very last layer, I'll do it in dark brown. And then we'll show you what I have going on here. Ta-da! Awesomeness. Okay, so I'm going to outline this. Okay, I'm also outlining around the outside of his body. Okay, so that's him. Okay, I'm actually going to outline his hat as well, I think, in the black. Let me show you what it looks like. As a matter of fact, his hat is black. So let's do that, black. Okay, it's part of his hat. Okay, now he does have a green ribbon and a gold or a yellow. It actually looks yellow or orangey here. But if you have metallic gold, do it metallic gold. That would be cool. Okay, let me turn it this way so I can see that little man. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so I'm using the fine liner brush to do the small area of the hat. Gives me a great deal of control. Beautiful. He's looking gorgeous. Ta-da! Okay, so now I think we'll do his face. All right, and the face, I'm going to go back to my kind of pointy brush, and I actually would like a smaller one. So if you have a smaller one also, you might want to switch to a smaller one. I thought that would be okay with this one, but I'm actually, oh, look at this baby. All right, good, good. I like it. Oh, I got myself all excited. Okay, so I am going to do his face. I'm going to do his face the lighter brown. Okay, so you can see these in here are the same color as his face. So I'm going to use this, and in my case, it's a burnt sienna. In your case, it could be a sienna or it could be a light brown, right? And again, yeah, we don't have to be the same. As a matter of fact, I think it's kind of cool if we have unique pictures. Okay, so I am going to take this and do his big cheekers. Okay, so this is kind of what he's looking like here. I'm going to take the detail brush, switch brushes, and do the small space in between his eyes. Okay, gives us control. I know you're not supposed to be a control freak, but when you're doing this type of artwork, control freak is the name of the game. We like it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's give him a little bit more. A little bit more volume. Okay, there we go. So this is him. All right, I'm going to do the white of his collar. So you're going to need some white paint. And like I said, mine's upside down because it is running low. So hopefully there's really some in here. Oh, perfect. Again, small amount. Okay, small amount. I'm going to clean my little pointy brush. And this is not my detail brush yet. After I paint it white, I'm going to go ahead and outline it in the black. But for right now, I just want to do, we can do the white of his eyes as well. So I'm going to take my little pointed brush here, and I'm going to go ahead and put in his collar. Okay. If you hear my table squeaking, this table is pretty old. When I first moved here, and I've been in my Havel location, this is my home studio that we're working from. I had this table built just for my art class. So, and I have been here a little over 25 years. So this is a pretty old table. Okay, here's his collar, right? Now for his eyes, I am going to switch to the detail brush because again, you know, this is a relatively small piece. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. Make sure all the water is off this time. And I'm not going to try to draw around the pupils. I'm actually just going to paint the whole pupil and then put the black on it afterwards. Okay, so here's an eyeball. And here's an eyeball. Okay, and pretty much I'm just kind of touching the brush to his face. And why am I must not be cleaning my brush really good. Okay, so let's make sure it has a good eyeball. There we go. Now he has an eyeball we can be proud of. Just kind of rounding them out. Okay, and like I said, he kind of looks like a Halloween turkey at this point because he has no pupils, but he will have. I'm going to just give him a little bit more eyeball here because I think he looks really cute with big eyeballs. So we're going to give him big eyeballs. Okay, so while I have this brush out, even though we're going to make the beak and the feet kind of go to the orangey yellow color, you're going to do them white first because those colors tend to need a number of coats to actually cover. So if I do them white first, then I have a little bit more, it doesn't quite take so long. And let's switch to a bigger brush. Okay, so I can get a little bit more coverage. And this time I'm going to dry it up really well. Okay, so I'm going into my white and just working with this foot here, which I want to bring right over here. Okay, so he has a good sized foot. Okay, so there's a foot. There is something afoot here. Okay, this one. I'm going to go here into here. I'm actually just touching the brush to the stone and then reshaping it. Okay, so it's kind of a heart shape with an extra bump in the middle. Okay, so those are his feet. And like I said, eventually we'll paint them a different color. But for right now, let's do them white. I'm putting a second coat on his collar. Okay, and a second dab on his little eyeballs. Ta-da. Okay, so he is so getting there. And I'm actually going to, I want to do his beak as well, but let me outline it. I don't want the beak to run into the white of the collar. So I'm actually going to take my liner brush here and do this beak. Let's see here. Beak, beak, beak. Okay, good. So I'm just making sure that they don't overlap each other. And I mean, it's okay if they do eventually, but for right now, I need the guidelines to kind of see where that beak is going. Okay. All right, so that's what we have. And then we have the red kind of gobble gobble thing going on. So let's do that next. Okay. Oh my gosh, he's so cute already. You're gonna love it. All right, so the gobble gobble, the gobbler, actually, here's my phone. Let's see if Miss Google, because she kind of seems to know all. Okay, so let's. What do you call the red gobbly thing under the turkey's neck? Oh, go ahead.
Snoots. According
Snoods.
to Newsfeed, the red fleshy bits hanging off turkeys' beaks are called snoods, not to be confused with
Snoods.
waddles, the fleshy bits under the neck that Richard the lawyer on Ally McBeal fetishized.
Never mind, you don't need to know that part. These are called snoods. So never let it be said that these tutorials are not educational. All right, so red, snoods. We're gonna put in Albuquerque turkey's snood. Okay, so I'm going to take this red and again, a little bit here, like so. Okay, and I'm going to put in his snood. Okay, so let's try this brush. And for the snood, okay, if you can see it, it's just kind of a squiggle, a red squiggle. So I'm gonna just dip into the red here. And then I'm just gonna kind of squiggle it on down here. Ta-da, a snood. And it actually looks like some of it's coming from this side as well. So we want a good snood for Albuquerque turkey. We want to have a good snood. All right, so I'm gonna put my red there, and I'm going to take the liner brush once again, and I'm gonna take my green, which is right here, and I'm going to just kind of put in my hat. Not the hat, the ribbon on the hat. Sorry. I told you it was late. You're going to have to bear with me. Okay, so here's Albuquerque. I'm going to take the liner brush and I'm just going to put in the ribbon of his hat. This way. And actually, let's just go all the way across. Okay, let's go all the way across with the ribbon. And the green, again, the greens have a tendency to be on the thin side. And I find that they're on the thin side regardless of what brand name of paint that I get. So I let it dry and then I put 2 coats on it. I'm fixing Albuquerque snood because I had a droplet of water, and when I dabbed it, I dabbed his snood as well. So we're gonna fix that. Okay, so now I'm thinking, well, all this good stuff is drying. Let's go ahead and put his feathers on, okay? So once again, I'm going to use a smaller pointed brush here. Okay, so if you have anything similar to that, that will work. And again, I have a lot of brushes, so the really old ones, I kind of cut them and customize them and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to put in his red feathers first because I have red out in my plate. And I know that there's little dots and stripes on here, but I'm going to put a solid red on there first. And if the stripes and dots are too hard for you, don't worry about it. You don't want to put them in, don't put them in. This is your piece. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and put in the red, okay, which is one behind his hat over here. And I'm wondering, this red seems kind of loose too. Let me clean my brush again. All right, here we go. Okay, so you're being careful around the hat in those areas, okay? And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. You just fix it afterwards. I can't tell you how many times I have had to fix my mistakes. Ta-da! Albuquerque. Okay, so I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to skip that one next to it and put in this one. All right, and as I'm looking at how it's going on, I think I will do a second coat. In most cases, I think a second coat is a good idea anyway. So here we go. Let's do that one. Make sure it has a nice rounded edge. All right, then I'm going to skip another one and go right to the bottom here. Okay, being careful to go around his toe, which is overlapping his body. Okay, I'm going to bring this out just a little bit more here. So like I said, don't be afraid. You know, the guidelines are exactly that. They're guidelines, right? So as you go along, if you say, oh, gee, I want to make this fatter, thinner, whatever it might be, you go right ahead and do it. You are the creator. Okay, so he has one more red one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that red one in. And it's a little bit, it's on top of the bottom one and underneath the top one. Okay. So here we go. Look, look, look. How cool is that? All right, so he has 4 red ones, and I'm going to kind of allow them to dry while I'm working on the yellow, okay? And this yellow, I really want to make it kind of goldy because it's more fallish that way. I like it to look like fall colors, and he is a turkey, so we want him to look good. So even though it's yellow, I'm going to go with kind of, okay, see these are 2 different yellows. This one's kind of medium yellow, and this one is this one's more of a goldy type yellow. So to me, this one looks a little bit more fallish, okay? So that being the case, if you do not have a goldy or a reddish, yellowish color, guess what? You can make one, okay? So if I take this and I still have some red on my brush, so if I mix these together like this, look what I end up with. I'm so happy at myself. That is so pretty, okay? Okay, so you mix any color that you want, all right? So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to start over here because that was the first one that I painted. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway. Yeah. Okay, and again, I'm being careful about painting around the hat. Okay, look, 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 cool. All right, so I'm going to switch to the detail brush because look at that area behind the hat. All right, so the thing to do if you use switching brushes, and again, your brushes are in the water when you're not using them. So make sure that when you take them out of the water and decide that you're going to use them again, that you take all the water out, which I thought I had done, and now I have this. So this particular brush holds water in the ferrule or that end of the brush. So I'm ending up with a little bit more water than I want, or a little bit lighter paint than I had hoped for. So I will come back and give this one a second coat as well. Okay. So look, look, cool. Okay. Switching back to the bigger brush. Being careful here. around his collar and around his little bod. And again, you know, the red feathers are drying. And like I said, acrylic paints dry relatively quickly. So we can do these. And then when we go over the red, the yellow will dry. Okay. All right, let's get you over here. Okay, so again, he has 4 reds and he has 4 yellow or gold or whatever color you're making these. Ta-da! Okay, so this one, let's see here. Be really careful around the body. And we want to round out these feathers. And let's see, maybe I'll extend this just a little. Look, isn't that awesome? I'm telling you, I think I'm enjoying this more than anyone else. Okay, so now while those orange or yellow, gold, or whatever you put on there, while those are drying, let's go back and give a second coat to our red. Now, because these colors are relatively similar, remember that orange is a combination of yellow and red. So I'm actually not even going to rinse my brush off, although I am taking off any excess paint with my paper towel, which is now in tatters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a second coat on these red feathers, these little guys. And this feather, I think, is a little on the thin side. So I'm going to make an adjustment right there. Okay, doesn't that look better? All right, so look. Oh my God, he's so cute. All right, so let's do that. Now, while we let those feathers dry a little bit more, because those kind of yellowy ones really do need another coat before we put any kind of decoration on them, let's go back to the feet. Okay, we can do the feet. And the feet can have, you can make them yellow, you can make them orange, you could make them pink if you want, but I'm going to stay with the fall theme. Okay, and I'm going to now, because I put white on them first, it's easy, relatively easy, let me say, to go ahead and cover them. And they will still need like a second coat, but it's a lot easier. If I didn't put the white on there, if we didn't do that first, then you would need like 5 coats. This yellows, greens, for some reason, they're just a thinner pigment. Okay. I'm going to put his little tootsies on there like that. And I am going to do a second coat on them as well. Okay, I'm going to go back to the red, I think, because even though I like it, I still think it could use another coat here. Oh, it's not quite dry yet. Okay, so maybe we're going to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so let's let those dry a little bit more. I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm going to outline Albuquerque's eyeballs. Okay. Actually, should we do his beak first? No, let's outline the eyeballs first, I think. Okay, so I'm using black and my thinnest liner brush. Okay, And I'm going to do his eyes. All right, so you're going to use a thin brush. Okay, so there's one eye, right? And then we're going to do the other one. All right, so at this point, we are just lining the eyes. Okay, now if you look at the eye on this side, it's a little bit out of round. I get a little too much black on there. Okay, so how do we fix that? And remember what I said to you, that you're always going to have things that you're going to have to fix. So, you know, don't get irritated with yourself. I find that when kids do art, no matter what they do, it's absolutely marvelous. It's like, oh, I'm going to make a purple sun, Miss Joan. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like it. Can I make one too? And they're like, yeah, you can make one. Okay, with an adult, they want everything to be just perfect. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and dip into my white. And I'm going to give a little bit more white to this eyeball. And voila, a fix. Okay, so we're going to let that dry a little bit because we want to put the pupils in, certainly. Okay, so now I'm going to outline the collar once again. And again, I'm doing that in the black because we want to be able to see it. There we go. See that one line? It makes a big difference. And I mean, with art, you know, I'm not a big fan of like outlining things, but when it comes to something like this, we have a lot of colors, and you're on a, you're on a material that is a little bit more of a challenge to work with. You do whatever it takes to get what you like. That's the way it is. That's the way you do it. Okay. Okay. I'm also going to line his head. All right, and let me do the other side, and I will show you what I have. Okay. All right, so eyes. Look around. Those eyeballs look okay. I'm going to go ahead and line his hat as well, even though it's a black hat, and I actually want to make it a little bit taller. So again, remember that you can make adjustments and anything that your heart desires whenever you want to. Okay, I kind of need him to face me so I can see what's going on. There we go. And I actually made it taller, and I think I'm going to make it longer on the edges. There we go. He's looking so much better. Okay. Yeah, now he's got a hat. Now he's got a hat he can be proud of. Okay, and I'm actually going to outline the snood. We learned snood today, so that it shows up. Okay, there's Albuquerque snood. All right, now let's see. Let's do his, let's put his eyeballs in, I think. Let me see what it looks like. Still using the liner brush. And I'm just going right up against his beak. Okay, and just touching the, I was going to say the canvas. Just touching the rock, okay, with my with my brush. See, the minute you put the eyes on, it gives them personality, doesn't it? Okay, and I think, let me see, I might have one pupil a little bit bigger than the other, so I can fix that. I think I made it too big. All right, that's okay. We're going to let it sit there, and then we'll put some white on it. Okay, I am going to go over the Tootsies. Okay, so I'm going to do his feet, give them a second coat. And then after they dry, I am going to outline them as well. Okay, so now we have 2 coats on his feet. Actually, we have a white coat and then 2 yellow or orange coats, whichever you used. So he's looking pretty spiffy at this point. And now, like I said, these dry relatively fast. They're still a little tacky, but they're dry enough for me to go ahead and do another coat of paint on them. So I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow, and solely because I already have it on my brush. So I'm just making it easy on myself. And doing the yellow. And these feathers, we could have done white first as well if we wanted to. But this looks pretty good. Okay, let's put a little bit more on his feet. All right. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my small brush to once again get in those very small spaces. So because I had black on my brush, I am going to clean it very thoroughly because I don't want black in my yellow. Okay, so I'm going to clean it very thoroughly. And this brush has a tendency to hold water. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure all the water is out. At least I hope so this time. Okay, so I'm going back into my yellow and doing these very small parts because I want to get in those small areas under the hat. Like this. And you don't have to have any artistic experience to do these pieces. They're just very fun pieces. Okay, I am going to actually do the beak. Okay, so the beak is going to be the same yellowy. And actually, I think it should be a little bit more orangey. So I'm going to, after it dries, maybe not after it dries, I think I will add a little red to it right now. Because again, I want it to be a little bit more on the orangey side. Okay. So let's put that in. Okay. And again, take your time, take your time. And I know I say it a lot, but I want to remind you that there's no rush to do this. You don't even have to finish it in one sitting. Take your time. So I'm actually going over the beak. Okay, so the beak looking like that. Okay, I'm going to go, like I say, in these really small parts in here. I can see some white of the stone. So I know that I didn't quite get in there good enough, and I'm going to do that right this very moment. Okay. Oh my gosh, he is so cute. All right, I'm liking him. Cute, cute, cute. I like that snood. It's a snood, everybody. Okay, and it looks a little cockeyed because I made one pupil bigger than the other. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of white, and we'll fix that. Okay, so I think that this is probably, the red is probably dry enough to go ahead and put a second coat of paint on there. All right, so I am going to clean the excess yellow off my brush, and then I am going to swish it in the water and clean it, right? And make sure all the excess water is off. Right? And then I'm going to go into my yellow and put another coat of paint on these feathers. Awesome. So I'm being really careful in the very small spaces that are in these. So here we go. Here, let's get into these small spaces right here. Again, I'm using a kind of a pointy brush. I'm looking for control. I know you're not supposed to be a control freak, but I think in the world of art, being a control freak is a very good thing. Okay, so let's make this, let's extend this guy out a little bit more. Oh yes, that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now this is what we have, which is looking quite awesome. Okay, so let's take another look at our source document and our Albuquerque turkey. Okay. So I'm thinking, let's fix his eyeball, Joan. Okay, which just needed a little bit more white. That's better. And the fine detail work, you know, if you don't get it, I mean, eyeballs are very small, especially on this very small rock. Okay. So don't worry if they don't come out perfect. They do not need to. If you're having a difficult time with them, okay, let them dry, repaint them. Whoa, my detail brush just lost its head. So let's see if we can, oh, easy fix. Okay. Okay, now Mr. Albuquerque turkey's eyeballs are looking pretty good. So now I'm thinking, let's do a little bit more work on his hat. So I think that the black looks very good. I think we could go over his, green ribbon. And the green that I have on here is dark enough that's not quite showing up as much as I want it to. So I'm going to take my green and add some yellow to it. All right, so adding yellow to green will give you this really light green. Okay, almost like a lime green, but not quite. Okay, so now I'm going to put in this ribbon once again. Okay. And that looks much better. And take a little bit of white give it just a little bit more highlight. Yeah. Okay, go back to the green. If you find that your stone is difficult to work on, okay, you can try sealing them like with a Mod Podge before you start painting them. If you don't have Mod Podge, which is just a kind of a sealer, spray it with hairspray. Any kind of lacquer, anything like that will actually fill in some of the crevices if you have a rock that's not really smooth. Or you can just paint it, you know, pre-paint it like we did to this one, and then just give it a couple more coats. Or, like I said, spray it with hairspray, put some Mod Podge on it or some kind of varnish or sealer, and then paint the undercoating once again. Okay, and it'll be a little bit smoother for you. But I try to bring really smooth rocks to the center. So those of you who have packs from the center should have relatively easy time painting on the stones, especially because we are putting an undercoat on them. Okay, so that's my green, which is a little bit brighter than the green that was on there before, which I like a lot better. Okay, so I am going to go over my feet one more time, and this time, and I need more yellow. So this time I'm switching to the actual lighter yellow. All right, so if you want to, you can do the same thing, or you don't have to. Okay, so this is the difference there. So let me actually switch brushes once again. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I am going to go over the feet. Okay, I'm going to go over Albuquerque's feet. And this time I'm actually adding the yellow to it. So that's going to give his feet a slightly different value, because I was thinking that his feet were looking so much like his feathers. Okay, and I'm actually going to put a little bit on his beak, but just around the top over here, and that's going to make it look like a highlight. Okay, so let's take this and give him a highlight. There we go. Highlight the beak. Okay, there he is. So now I'm actually going to outline anything that's not outlined. I'm going to go ahead and outline it now, which in this case is going to be his feet, his beak, and all of the feathers. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my black here, and I'm going to use it carefully and use it with my liner brush. Okay, so there's one. Okay, keep your paint on the thin side. And I'm just kind of doing one side at a time. Oops, I tipped in the brown. Okay, see, there's the red one. Okay, see how they really start to show up once you do that? Now, if in fact you have sparkles, and some of the kits do, and some of the kits do not, you can actually sparkle these. But at this point, because I'm not sure everyone has them, we're going to just kind of do this part. And I promise you will not be disappointed. This is so much fun. Okay. Someone in class today said to me, "Where are all these tutorials you've been doing?" And I'm like, where have you been? They are up on Facebook. They are on my Jones Art Gallery page. They're on my personal page. They're on the Drake Council of Aging. They're on DATV. They are literally everywhere. But like my student, if you cannot find them, you let me know. Because I said to her, oh my gosh, I said, I will send you all of the links. So then you can have your choice about which one you want to do. She was like, really? And I said, honest truly. Sharing your art and sharing, what you're doing is, it's one of the coolest things to do. And I have to say, COVID being what it is, I mean, there's a lot of grisly stuff going on with COVID, certainly. But as with any situation, there's always a flip side. Okay, so doing these tutorials are the flip side for me. They're a lot of fun, and people are constantly contacting me. Go, oh my God, this was so good. This one was fun. Blah 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 blah. Or what paint did you use? How many coats did you? Blah blah blah. And it's just an amazing thing to do. Sharing your art. Okay, so this is what I have so far, and I'm going to go ahead and outline the beak. The beak. Okay, so outlining the beak, go slow. Right, going slow. And I'm actually resting my hand along the table. And he has two, we're going to put in his two little nostrils right here and here. Okay, so he has two little nostrils going on there. Okay. He also has a little tie going on. I'm not so sure you can see it, but you will see it after I put it in here. Okay, so we're putting this little tie in over here and over here, little ties. Okay, it's right under his snood. Okay. So everything is pretty much outlined. Let's outline the hat. Oh, actually, I'm not going to outline around the green. Okay, and I also want to put in the belt buckle that's on his little pilgrim hat. So again, using the liner brush and cleaning it off as good as I can without getting a bunch of water stuck in there. This is a great liner brush, but definitely holds the water. And you don't want to water down. You don't want to water down your acrylics at all. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I have to say it's really, really, really cute. All right, so I'm going to take the white first and actually put the buckle in with the white. Because remember, to kind of get the gold over the green will take quite a few coats of paint. So if we do it white first, we will save ourselves some time. Okay, so I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay, and right now it just looks white, right? So after that dries a little bit, I'm going to go over it with the yellow or the gold, whichever one you want is fine. Okay, this is what we have thus far, and this is kind of what we're working from here. Okay, so you see these like lines and dots and things that are going on here? Let's put some of those in. If it's too hard for you, don't do it. If you want to put just the dots in, just put the dots in. If you want to put in just the stripes, just put the stripes in. If you want to put in different colors, put in different colors. If you want all the same color, put all the same color. You are the creator here. Okay. So I am going to take him, and while his belt buckle is drying, I'm going to take this liner brush, and I am going to take my dark green here with my liner brush. Okay, I'm going to loosen this paint slightly. And when I say loosen the paint slightly, I just dipped my brush in the water and am just kind of pulling on this little piece of green paint. Okay, and now I'm going to take this and just draw some lines here. And then I'm going to draw some going the other way. Okay, can you see that? Is that not cool? All right. So I'm going to take another one, only this time, maybe I'm going to go on the red. And instead of drawing lines, I'm going to put my brush straight down into the paint. Let me see if I can do it this way, straight down into the paint. So I have a little bead of paint on the bottom of that, and I'm going to just touch, and make little dots on this red. Okay, I'm gonna redip, and depending on how much pressure you put on your brush, okay, those are those little dots. And let me see, what else do I want? Okay, I think I'm going to put more little dots on there, but I'm definitely going to use a different color. Okay, so I'm going to dot the same feather. Okay, and I'm going to use the yellow this time. And dot yellow. Okay, and again, the amount of pressure that you're putting on this brush dictates how big the dot will be. Okay, this one right here. Okay, see it? Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I'm going to take the same yellow and maybe put some dots in where I did those green stripes. Okay, so you can do whatever's on the handout. You can create your own, certainly. Fixing the toe here. Okay, so now I have one with dots and one with stripes. Okay, and actually there's most of them are stripes, but some of the stripes go the other way, certainly. So we can certainly do that. Let's choose that has blue on it. We don't have any blue out here. We have green, yellow. But let's go grab some blue. Why not? Okay, and not a real like heavy blue, because we want to keep this kind of fall color theme. Okay, so this blue, let me see if it's a good blue to use. Blue. Okay, so this blue is called a deep turquoise. So it has a little bit of green in it, and if you don't have turquoise at home, you're going to take green and blue and add it together until you get something that you like. All right. So I'm going to put a little out there, and this is, turquoise can be like a greenish blue or a bluish green. In this case, it's definitely a bluish green. All right. And so I am going to once again take my brush, and I am just kind of sweeping it through this blue. And I'm going to make some wavy lines. Okay, and I'm going to put them right on this bottom blue, this bottom feather. What I meant to say. Okay. This is cool. Okay, see my wavy lines right there. All right, and while that is drying a little bit, I'm going to go to a different feather and put more stripes over here. Like this time, I think I'll put the stripes on the red. Okay, so I'm actually going to draw them out this way. And hopefully they don't look like Christmas colors, because I am working on red on green. Did you know, for those of you who are students, red and green are complementary colors because they are opposite each other on the color wheel. Put little lines connecting these. Now I'll show you what that's going to look like. Okay, so if this takes too much control, or it's irritating you, you're not a detail person, okay, whatever it might be, this is your piece, so you decide. Yes, I want to do that. No, I do not. Okay, so there's no wrong answer here. So actually what's happening is we're getting a different design, basically lines and dots on these. It's giving it a very, very festive look. And you know Albuquerque turkey doesn't want to end up on your table. Have macaroni and cheese instead. Okay, so I am going to now take a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to maybe do some dots in these little boxes. And like I said, if this is too detailed for you, don't do it. I actually like the little details. I have a tendency to run amok, as they say, with the details. Often adding more as I go along. And then people are like, oh my God, it took 3 hours to do that. It's because of these little details. Okay, so I put little dots in there. Yeah. Okay, and that will take away any kind of Christmassy type look. Okay, so the yellow, I'm going to try putting it on this orange. Oh, it does look good. I was afraid that it would not actually take, but it's actually doing just fine. And you do not know unless you try. Okay, so I'm going to go this way, and then this way, and that's my yellow. And I can put dots there or not. Okay, I'm going to go yellow. Let's do blue this time. I switched. I changed my mind. And we still have that blue one down there, don't we? All right, let's see. Let's do a zigzag. All right. So zigging and zagging here. Let's go zig and zag. And you can do your zigzags, different color zigs and zags. You can do them all the same color, which I am going to do all my zigzags blue. And then you know I'm going to add something else to it. But that looks pretty cool there. That's my blue zigzag. Okay, and now I'm going to put little dots, I think. And I'm staying with the blue on this one. Okay, that's my blue. Those look pretty ding dong dang cool. I'm going to take the blue off of this brush, and I'm going to take the red now, because I haven't used that for a while. And I'm going to zigzag over here as well in the red. Actually, maybe I'll do 2 red and then 2 different colors. Okay, so I'm actually going to work on the snood a little bit more here. All right, so I'm thinking, let's change from the red to, I'm going to go with this sienna. We haven't done that for a while. So for you who do not have sienna, it is the lighter brown that we were using. And I'm going to put that on here. Zigzag with the red. Okay, see this red over here? So I did 2 red zigzags, and now I'm doing 2 burnt sienna zigzags. And then I'm going to do a blue zigzag. Okay, so now I have red, brown, and blue zigzags. And I have to say, I'm liking them. Ta-da! Okay, like it, like it. Okay, so we have 1 left, and I am thinking, I like the yellow. I like the yellow on here. So I'm not going to clean off my brush, which means that it's going to come out a little bit on the green side because there's blue on my brush. But that's not a bad thing, I don't think, because the other one looks so cool. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. And I'm going to take the red, and I'm going to go right through the yellow. Okay, that's what I ended up with there. So now that actually takes care of all of them. And my buckle is probably dry enough now for me to put the yellow on there. Now that can be yellow or gold. It can be purple if you want it to be. Again, you are the creator. I'm liking the kind of yellowy gold. So I'm going to actually do the yellow first, I think, using the liner brush here. I'm going to go over the white with the yellow. Okay, so that's what I have on the hat. I'm going to blow on it. Okay, blowing on that so it dries just a tad, because I do want to put a little bit of orange over it so that it looks a little bit more on the goldy side. And not a metallic gold, kind of a federal gold, or like a burnished gold. Okay, so I'm just going to let it dry there for a few seconds. Now, this handout actually has leaves on there. Now, I kind of made it so big that we can't fit a whole bunch of leaves on there, although I could put some on top of the feathers. Okay, so I'm actually going to go back into my black, all right, and watch. I'm going to put it right over the feather. I'm going to draw in a leaf, and I'm going to put the line in first. The line is in first, and then I make these little kind of stems coming off of it like this. Okay, can you see that? A little kind of stem type thing. And then I'm just going to connect them. I'm just going to connect the stem. Okay, so I'm connecting this line and that line and that line. Can you see it? Okay, and I'm going to connect this side, that, and that. And now I have a leaf, all right? So as that's drying, I'm actually going to put another one over down here. And this time it's going to be on the ground. Okay, so I'm doing a little line on the ground here. And then I'm just going to do like a little heart shape here. Like just like this. and like this. And then I can put the little veins there. So now I have a leaf down there. And so these are drying, all right, while I'm drawing the other ones. So I'm going to draw one more somewhere, maybe on this side. Okay. And I think I'm going to curl it this time. Okay, so that's it over there. And so you draw the line first. And this one's a little easier to draw. So maybe let's go with another one of those. Okay, so I have two leaves here, one there. I'm really kind of liking it. And I can even put in some little veins in here. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So now, while those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and put the orange in the buckle on the hat. Okay, so do I actually have any orange left? No. Okay, so I'm going to take my red, I'm going to take a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow, and when you add them together, guess what? You get orange. Okay, so I'm actually going to add that to my yellow. All right. So now, again, using the detail brush, I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat. Now let me take a little bit more yellow here. Okay, so see his buckle on his hat? Very cool. So now the feathers, all right? The feathers, they can be green and red and yellow. They can be any color that you want. Okay, and because I have like reds and yellows here, I'm actually going to put it on this one because it's on an orange feather. And I think if I put the yellow and the red, it'll show up really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right this very moment. Okay, so all I did was color in this little spaces with the yellow. Now I'm going to take my red and I'm going to put some red over it, but not the whole thing. I actually would like some of the yellow to show through. Okay, so there's my leaf right there. Okay, and I am going to actually let that leaf dry out a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over the veins once again. Okay, this bottom leaf, I'm going to make it yellow down here on one side and green on the other side. Okay, so look at that. That's very cool. Liking it, liking it. So the other one, I'm going to do yellow, red, and green. Just because I can and I want to. Okay, so look, this is red, yellow, and green on there. Okay, so that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and rework this top one just a little bit. Give it a little bit more shape and color. Okay, that little guy up there. I'm going to take some of the red off of this brush and a little bit of white on here just to lighten it up a little bit. It has an awful lot of black in there. And if you look at something and you do not like it, you do not have to keep it, okay? So I wasn't crazy about that leaf. I just painted right over it, okay? So now, having done that, I'm going to take the red, put in a little bit of red. I'm going to put in a little bit of green into here and yellow. This leaf is growing by leaps and bounds. Okay, so I'm actually going to lighten it up a little bit and put a little bit more yellow on here. Okay, that was looking good. And a little bit of green, I think. Green, 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 right there. Then I am definitely going to outline in black because the two on the bottom really are outlined in black. So let's outline this baby as well. There we go. Okay, look at it. Look at it. Is that not cool as anything? Oh, because my brush, where did it go? Oh, there it is, there it is. Okay, there in the water. So here we are, is Albuquerque turkey. Okay, and after he dries enough, okay, you can, if you have, you know, some sparkle that you want to put on him, you can do that. For those who are female, if you have like shimmering eyeshadow, you can rub that into certain parts of it. Before you do, seal him. Okay, so either with something called the Mod Podge, or if you don't have Mod Podge, some kind of varnish spray. And if you don't have that, the very last thing that you can do, spray it with hairspray. Okay, a really cheap hairspray that will give it a nice coat. All right, and don't forget to sign your work afterwards. Okay. All right. I am like thrilled at the way he came out. He is like so much more vivid than even his picture. Okay. So very cool. I'm going to let him dry now, and then I'm going to put some Mod Podge on him, maybe a little, bling him out a little bit. Okay. And we're going to thank Bethany and the team at the Drake Council on Aging for sponsoring, for doing these tutorials. They were actually, Bethany is the one who kind of was like, Joan, what do you think about, you know, doing these tutorials for folks while they're kind of, you know, inside and trying to stay safe and the hair. Well, okay, so anyway, she's the one that we want to thank for that, for starting all of this. It was her idea. She is an awesome person. I have been a fan of hers forever. Okay, so thank you, Bethany, and thank you, Tara at BATV, because she kind of takes and edits them for me and makes them look even better. Okay, so thank you, Tara at BATV. Thank you, Ron at DATV, okay, who's also putting them up on Drake It TV. And of course, Bethany and the team, Noelle, Ari, Debbie, and a lot more that I'm totally, forgive me, forgetting. But there's a whole team over there, and they really are very awesome. Okay, so Drake Council on Aging.org, or pull them up online. You know, you can get the phone number, even though the center is still closed, essential services are still being offered, Meals on Wheels, so on and so forth. So they are very people oriented and just very wonderful people themselves. Okay, and I am Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery and Intuitive Body and Soul. Okay, you can get a hold of me if you want more tutorials, because this is like my 12th one. So we have lots of things for you to do. You can get a hold of me at Jonissa at Comcast.net. It's JOAN as in Nancy, I, S as in Susan, A at Comcast.net. You can call me 978-807-7608. Okay, and just say, Joan, where are the rest of your tutorials? And I will send you the links to them. Or if you have questions, you know, what color makes purple? Okay, red and blue, by the way, makes purple. So whatever questions that you have, and if you have any questions about the center or you need essential services, call Drake Council on Aging. And I am going to say good night to you, and I will see you next time. And speaking of next time, we do have more tutorials coming. All right, this is one of our holiday tutorials that are coming. More holiday tutorials, and some of these are going to be done on ornaments. Okay, I believe this one is going to end up being an ornament, and this one I think is going to be another ornament. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to do this one on a big 16 by 20 canvas, also in your Drake It packs. Okay, so stay tuned, and if you want to know when all this is happening, call the center, and actually it will probably be in the October newsletter, I would think, or maybe the November one. I'm not sure. Call the center. Okay, and let me see if I can find it. Let me see. You guys are in luck, because guess what?
Gobble, 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 get. And he wobbles
And he gobbles, and he's absolutely mine. This is best that you can get, better than a dog or cat. He's my Albuquerque turkey, and I'm gonna be proud of that.
gobble, 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 get.
La 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 la, da. He's my Albuquerque turkey. This was a song that my 81-year-old student, who is a retired teacher, taught to her students, and I never forgot it.
Not the main course at my dinner, and I told him not to fret.
Gobble, 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 yeah. Late, guys, what can I say? Good night.